Talk about Super Bowl percentages, Billy. We're gonna talk about some statistics and some numbers and break it all down because there was an article posted recently by Cynthia Freeland of the NFL Network, and she does this series called Game Theory on the NFL.com website where she runs the numbers with her algorithm and percentages and whatnot. And she ran one that talks about the AFC and NFC teams most likely to hit Super Bowl 58, Billy. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are obviously on this list because they're in the playoffs. And I wanted to go ahead and talk about what the Cynthia Freeland algorithm and whatnot has the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at. Are you ready to dive into it, Billy?
Absolutely.
All right. So coming in at number one with a 19.4% chance to win the Super Bowl is the San Francisco 49ers. They have a 40.4% chance to win the NFC. Not really surprising there. The San Francisco 49ers are an incredibly good football team, and, you know, they're just really good. So, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Number two, right behind them, 18.5% chance to win the Super Bowl, 38.5% chance to win the AFC is the Baltimore Ravens. Again, not really surprising. You have Todd Monken there, which a lot of people love, and you have him in an MVP caliber Lamar Jackson. That's a dangerous combo, and the Falcons have really been on one this year, or not the Falcons, sorry, the Ravens. I get my bird teams mixed up. The Ravens are one of the best complete teams in the NFL this year. Their defense has been fantastic this year. Their offense has been fantastic this year, much like the San Francisco 49ers. A lot of people have been predicting a 49ers Ravens Super Bowl. Not surprising to see why. Then you have the Bills with a 14.3% chance to win the Super Bowl, a 25.4% chance to win the AFC. A little surprising to me because the Bills have been so up and down this year, but they've had some good moments throughout this year as well. Kansas City Chiefs coming in at number four. This was very surprising to me. A 10.5% chance to win the Super Bowl, 18.4% chance to win the AFC. I don't necessarily know if I agree with the algorithm on that one, considering that the Chiefs have been, admittedly, pretty down bad this year, all things considered, especially with wide receiver drops and whatnot, but you never know with Patrick Mahomes, I suppose. Next, you have the Dallas Cowboys with a 9.9% chance to win the Super Bowl, 20.5% chance to win the NFC. The Detroit Lions, 8.5% chance to win the Super Bowl, a 16.5% chance to win the NFC. And then you have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Billy, coming with a 4.8% chance to win the Super Bowl, an 11.1% chance to win the NFC. So, Billy, by my count, you have one, the San Francisco 49ers, two, the Baltimore Ravens, three, the Buffalo Bills, four, the Kansas City Chiefs, five, Cowboys, six, Lions. The Bucs are number seven in Super Bowl winning percentage probability. Billy, that is more than the Cleveland Browns. That is more than the Miami Dolphins. The Philadelphia Eagles have a less percentage at 2.6%. The Buccaneers wild card round opponent. The LA Rams are only at 2.2%. The Houston Texans are at 1.7%. The Green Bay Packers 0.4%, and the Pittsburgh Steelers at 0.2%. And if we go ahead and briefly take a look at the paragraph before I get your thoughts on this, it's not an advanced stat, but let's take a moment to remember Baker Mayfield recording a perfect passer rating at Lambeau Field in Week 15. Very fun moment that was not on my 2023 bingo card. It then talks about Devin White generated a league-high 20 unblocked quarterback pressures this season. In other words, look out on Monday, Jalen Hurts. And that's all it says. That's all it says to explain this 4.8% winning the Super Bowl percentage and 11.1% chance to win the NFC South is, hey guys, remember Baker Mayfield had a perfect passer rating at Lambeau Field and Devin White is unblocked a good amount of times. So Jalen Hurts gonna get you. And look, hey, I'm not saying what the heck. I mean, what I good algorithm, good job algorithm. We like to see it, but Billy, the Bucs are right smack dab in the middle here of winning the Super Bowl percentage and winning the NFC percentage. What are your thoughts and opinions on this? Because I saw that and I was relatively surprised about that.
Yeah, I think my first thought, biggest takeaway is boy, do the pundits of August look foolish. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right about now, were supposed to be firing Todd Bowles, moving off of Baker Mayfield, hitting the reset button, and scouting their new quarterback with a top five pick. That was where the Buccaneers were projected to be this time of year. Now they got the seventh best odds to win the Super Bowl. They're hosting a home playoff game against the team that has lower odds to win the Super Bowl than they do. And I think that paragraph is super brief. I think
Yes, a
it's kind
very
of
a
missing
very
a
a very
couple.
brief paragraph.
Yeah, I think it's kind of missing a couple things. I would kind of point to the improvement of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive line since the beginning of the season and the emergence of Rashad White as a legitimate feature back who can beat you in a bunch of different ways. And defensively, while the Buccaneers have been hampered by a ton of injuries and the defense has not looked as forceful and prominent as it has in years past, Todd Bowles has done a good job kind of mix and matching pieces together to create at least a respectably solid product. They've taken a very different approach, I think, this year than in years past because I think they kind of know that they don't have all their horses for at least most of the games. They've been banged up big time, especially in the secondary. And Todd Bowles has done a good job, deserves credit. He's kind of kept the lid on opposing offenses rather than attacking them. He's kind of just simmered them so that, games have always remained close. And he gives the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense a chance to, hey, if you can get us to 20, 21 points, it's probably going to be enough.
Yeah, it is. Again, it was very surprising to me whenever I saw that. But again, hey, I mean, like you said, the paragraph was brief, and I get it. You got to write 14 paragraphs essentially. It's not easy, especially whenever you're running the numbers and you're on a time crunch there. But I will say, yeah, I mean, talking about the offensive line, talking about the improvement of just the team overall, Billy, and we've mentioned it, right? And I've brought it up. Look, I was talking about this, you were talking about this, we were talking about this when the Bucs were 4-7. Hey, is it time for Todd Bowles to go? What's going on with this team, right? But they responded, won 5 out of their last 6 games, and have gotten into the position that they're in. And I think they've exceeded a lot of expectations. I've made some content talking about that here on the channel. We've talked about this on the channel. And again, now to have the seventh highest percentage to win the Super Bowl, at least according to this algorithm on NFL.com. What a journey this year has been, right? What an absolute journey. And while it was surprising, when you could even argue, like, yes, and I think their circumstances are also a part of it as well. Like they get to host a home playoff game. I think that's huge. Regardless of what people say, look, at the end of the day, they won the division. They get to host a playoff game. And they're above teams that you could argue would just have more talent, like the Eagles, like the Rams, but just the way the Bucs have momentum on their side, maybe their path to the playoffs is a little bit easier than those two teams. I'm not too sure, but this algorithm seems to, we don't even know what the Bucs full path would be yet to a Super Bowl or to a winning the NFC until we get there, but it is it's such an interesting thing. You got to assume them hosting a playoff game helps out that algorithm. You got to assume them winning 5 out of the last 6 games has them help that algorithm. And like you said, the defense stepping up in a huge way, really just the team as a whole improving in a big way from where they were at 4-7 to where they were now is a lot of factors that I imagine that go into that percentage, right?
Right. And I don't think I don't want to speak for you, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think either one of us is saying the Buccaneers are likely to go to the Super Bowl or we're thinking that that's going to happen. But
No,
it
we're
is
just analyzing the percentage here.
right. And it is just nice to see, again, a team that was projected to win three, 4 games this year now be, the third or fourth best team in the NFC in terms of potential to win the Super Bowl. And that is a huge jump past expectations. You talked about exceeding expectations. The Buccaneers, well, can't even find expectations in the rear view. They're a blip on the horizon behind them. There is, no, there is no credible person who stood up and beat their chest and said the Buccaneers are going to the playoffs this year and they're going to be hosting a home playoff game. Baker Mayfield's going to have a career season. They're going to finish with a winning record. None of those things were the norm for a prediction before the season. So to see Tampa Bay, like you said, exceed expectations and put themselves in this spot, a lot of credit to be given to a lot of different people.